Are you tired of the secular news? Do you want a Christian view of politics? Do you want to know what is going on in your Christian community? Your wait is over. Welcome to the InterMountain Christian News Hour. Here is your host, Dr. Anthony Harper.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Harper, the InterMountain Christian News Hour. We have some sad issues to deal with, and that is today is about Thomas Kinkade's passing away, and we want to honor Thomas Kinkade and his family. And I have here in the studio with my regular Alan Jones is my co-host, and then Bill Mason is with me. He was a Thomas Kinkade gallery. Him and his wife, owner of in the Boise Town Square, Thomas Kinkade Gallery there. And Bill, thanks for joining me.
Well, you're welcome, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here.
And Alan, and it's great to have you again. Alan helps me out a lot. It can be really stressful at times, and if I'm having to do all this myself, it's really stressful. And Alan's a good prayer partner that helps me out.
Is he saying I talk a lot?
I think he's saying before it's over with me talking, we might need you, is what he's saying.
No, I don't know if Alan and I we're not going to do much talking today. We're going to have Bill and Debbie. Well, maybe Debbie will call in. I don't know yet, but at least you'll be sharing about your memories of Thomas Kinkade. And so we actually have on our website a memorial. It's imcnews.org, and you'll see Thomas Kinkade's picture there, and it takes you to links to learn more about his life. Some great links there to learn more about him. And so anyway, Bill, thanks for joining us here. And I know it's a really sad time. It's hard to believe that Thomas Kinkade is gone.
It was hard for Debbie and I both. We've known Tom for probably 22 years personally, and from a business standpoint. My wife met Tom in Los Angeles at a gift show in probably 1990, and that was before Tom was a published artist, displaying his art in a park. And she instantly knew that she was connected with this gentleman and that he was painting some beautiful art.
Wow, and Thomas Kinkade passed away, when was that?
It was 2 Fridays ago, and he passed away at the age of 54.
April 6th.
Yes.
April 6th.
So that's how you ended up getting your experience started with Thomas Kinkade, because your wife saw him at a little deal down there. That's kind of interesting.
Yes, she owned a gift store at the time, and of course was always on the lookout for special things. And the minute she met Tom, she knew that Tom was not only a special person, but his art was just gorgeous and very collectible.
Yeah,
right from the start.
Something very special. Anything in the memories that she'd have from that original meeting down there? Just the way he held himself, or just maybe some jokes that he may have said. I don't know if he joked very much.
He wasn't much of a joker, but he was always the first one to acknowledge that the Lord was doing his painting with him and for him, and guiding his hand. And any time that you met Tom, you knew that there was a great love for the Lord in Tom's heart.
I don't remember that. Alan, that he was having a John 3:16 on his painting. I don't remember when that started, but John 3:16 about exemplifies about his love for the Lord, right? He wanted people to know the gospel message.
Yes.
Do you remember when that started?
I believe that I've got to say that it was probably about 95 is I think when that started, when he started putting notations and his wife's initials and stuff on the paintings, but date wise I could be wrong.
Okay.
Do you know, did he ever tell you how he got started painting?
Yes, Tom was a artist ever since he was 5 years old. He just knew that he was going to be an artist. His family, my wife and I both know his family on a personal basis, and we know all the Tom stories of how Tom grew up and the professors and the teachers that dealt with Tom. And Tom, ever since he was 5, 6 years old, he just knew he was going to be an artist. His brother, Patrick Kinkade, who was a criminologist down at TCU, he tells the story of when they were youngsters, and he would want to go outside and play. He was a little bit younger than Tom. When he wanted to go outside and play, Tom would say, "No, I can't go outside and play. I'm an artist. I got to paint." And they actually had oil paintings lining their home, just stacked up around drying and just permeating, the smell of oil painting. And
wow.
And so Tom had a great love for art right from the start.
Yeah, but he did go out and play with Patrick every once in a while, didn't he?
I don't think too much. He painted. That guy was really. In fact, he took his bedroom apart one time and got some cardboard boxes, and this was when he was just 5-6 years old, and built a little cardboard studio in his bedroom so that he could have a studio to paint in.
Wow.
Yeah, the amazing gentleman.
So how did Patrick take that? Because he wanted to go out and do some things, and Thomas wouldn't do that. Was Patrick pretty
well, upset? Patrick actually loved to paint also, and as a matter of fact, when they were young gentlemen, there was an art contest at school, and Pat got into it and Tom got into it, and as it ends up, Patrick actually ended up winning the art contest. So
oh wow.
Yeah. And as right now Pat has young boys, and Tom was actually mentoring one of Pat's boys to become an artist. So
and so what is happening with that, with him turning out to be an artist?
Well, I don't know what will come of that now that we've lost Tom, but of all the children, Tom had 4 girls, and then Pat has 3 boys, and we often would ask which one was looking to become the next artist, and one of Pat's boys was the one that was stepping up, and so Tom was actually mentoring to him.
And what's his name?
Seth, I believe.
Seth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how God blesses him with his art talent.
Right. So now you and your wife had a gallery here, right, at the mall.
Yes.
How long was that at the mall here?
About 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah, and I have to say it was a lot of years of retail for us, but a great love for all of the people that came in to see us. We did a lot of events. We had a lot of personal dealings with all of our customers, very close, and so you can imagine it was hard to finally leave retail after all those years. But like I was telling you a little bit earlier, we actually baked cookies at Christmas for our first time. But it was nice to be home for Christmas this year.
Do those people ask you a lot of different things? I mean, in your 13 years of running that gallery, a lot of things about Thomas or...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Tom stories, for anybody that either sold or dealt in Tom's art that worked with us, and all of the gallery owners, they all knew that the way to sell Tom's art was with the Tom stories. He was he was an easy person to talk about. The nice thing about Thomas Kinkade, about selling Tom's art, is you did not have to sell the artist. You just had to sell the piece, the painting. And even then, they pretty much knew which piece they really liked. So selling Tom's art was a little bit different. If you were to sell an artist from downtown, you would have to explain the artist and where you think he's going with his art and how popular he'll be. And with Tom, you knew when you walked in, you knew Tom usually. You had heard of him or dealt with him.
Do you know when it happened and when he got the title, the Painter of Light?
Well, I know how he got it. I'm not sure when he got it, because ever since I knew Tom, that was what we thought of him as. Tom, when he was a young man, he grew up in Placerville, California, and it was a time when families didn't get divorces. His family went through a divorce, and so Tom and Pat both would come home from school, and they would see their friends, and their friends' houses would have the lights on because the parents were home waiting for the children to get home. And Tom's house never had the lights on, and it was very sad for him. So he made a vow to never paint a house or a window without light in it for that reason.
That's really neat. I'm sure most people out there don't know of what you might call his mission statement. But for those of you, it is very touching. I will read it to you just so you have a little more insight about this man, Thomas Kinkade. He states that, "My mission as an artist is to capture those special moments in life adorned with beauty and light. I work to create images that project a serene simplicity that can be appreciated and enjoyed by everyone. That's what I mean by sharing the light."
Yeah, Tom considered himself a romantic realist, which that was always fun for us also, because you might see a stream with a cabin beside the stream and wonder where in the world would you find a cabin that close to a stream. Well, that was what was so fun about Tom's art, is being a romantic realist. It might have been the stream without a cabin, or it might have been the cabin without a stream. You don't know, but he always made it look probably better in his mind than what he actually might have seen it. He wanted to add that little touch to it.
Yeah, I remember looking at some of those paintings about the stream being so close, and the stream didn't seem scary or dangerous. It just looked like a blended ride. It was be a safe place to be.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of the cabin pieces that had deer and a lot of wildlife in it, and birds and turkeys, and you look at that, and maybe never in your life have you ever seen that many animals in one spot like that. But that's what Tom painted. He painted that part of you that you wanted to see the things that you didn't see all the time, and he wanted to paint them in a way that was very warming to your heart and your soul.
I was just thinking about this. It reminds me of the creation of Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden. How the animals were really close with Adam and Eve, and how Thomas Kinkade brings in the animals close to human proximity, or to the cabin. And it's just that yearning to be probably close with God's creation. Yeah,
one of the stories that I tell that I feel bad about at this point, and I wrote about it for your magazine, was that Tom and I were actually good friends. And I'm friends with his brother and know all of his children, and like I said. And Tom had asked me for many, many years to set up a backpacking trip on horseback into some of the wilderness areas here in Idaho. And I never got that done for him. Oh. But like I said, I didn't know that the Lord wanted to take Tom home quite as soon as he did. But it's a little bit harder to get the right person lined up to take Tom into the wilderness than it sounds. I talked to a lot of people, and that was a little difficult on Tom's schedule and their schedule and the right person. But Tom loved Idaho. He visited here a lot. He has traveled quite a few of the wilderness areas here in Idaho. He painted a piece for us called Stanley Creek. From when he visited Stanley. There was a piece, and I'm sure a lot of the collectors will remember this piece, Evening Majesty, and that piece, Tom says, was inspired by one of his visits to Idaho. So he loved Idaho a lot and loved the people here a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's easy to do, I would think. We're very wonderful people here in Idaho.
And rugged too, right?
And there we go.
You say that, and actually, if you stopped and thought about the people in Idaho, and the lady that ran the gallery, my wife, probably the sweetest person I've ever known. She always made sure that on Tom's birthdays, she would buy a birthday card that was 2 feet tall, and everybody that came in the gallery signed it from Idaho, happy birthday, Tom. And she always kept a connection between Tom and Idaho. And I think Tom, just like Alan said, actually, it sounds kind of, whimsical, but it's true that Tom actually loved the people of Idaho.
Yeah. It's,
Do you know much about his charities and stuff? Because I know he was a charitable man.
I know a little bit. I didn't get in too much to that. I will tell you this, that Tom has a lot of different foundations. He works with a lot of different foundations, and through World Vision, one year we supported thousands of children. Just thousands. Tom was very generous about taking care of people, praying with people. I've seen Tom many times stop what he was doing to pray with a lady who was having a hard time, or a gentleman that was having a hard time. He would stop and go out of his way to be part of a community. So.
Oh, that's special. I didn't get to see that. I'm glad that you got to see that, and that he helped a lot of people, touched a lot of people's lives, and we're never the same. There's a void that no one else can fill that void, and those paintings are so peaceful, so inspiring, and especially when I think of the one that I liked so much was the one when Jesus overlooking Jerusalem. But I don't know if anyone out there listening had seen that painting, but there was a tear in Jesus' eye about Jerusalem, how we know Jesus wept for Jerusalem, and there's a sadness.
Mm-hmm. That piece, like you say, Anthony, Tom, when you spent time with Tom's paintings, you would always want to highlight the paintings with the lights and see the light or the paintings in different light. And that particular piece had a certain wonderful highlighting glow to it, didn't it?
Oh yes,
it was really pretty.
There's nothing like Jerusalem. This Jesus yearning, and Tom did that really well about. There's a special moments, the lighting in the city, and actually in Jesus, his connection with the light in the background, and there's a lot of deep spiritual meaning in that painting. Yes,
there is. I think that had the time allowed and had the Lord not been ready to bring Tom home, I have said since I first saw Tom and his art that I was really excited to see what this artist was going to paint later in his life as he became an artist that wasn't being led by the corporate structure. We sort of ended up in a spot with Tom that I don't think Tom even knew we were headed to, that it would be as demanding as successful, time-wise demanding on Tom. It turned out to be wonderful for all of us, but I sure would like to have seen what he would have painted as an older gentleman without, with the time to sit down and paint some of that special stuff.
I know. Well, it's the time that God knew his days, how long he was going to be here, and God chose to take him. So we don't understand. Mm-hmm. We'll understand more, and we can know that Tom is having a lot more fun than we are. That he's with the light being. That's one of Jesus' names, and so he, Christ shared his characteristics with Tom. He talked about the importance of light. And we know God is light, and it's wonderful to know how God inspired him, and then he inspires us all with his presence.
Yes. Tom can see the light unlike any of us can see it right now.
Yes. Oh, he is there with the light being in person, face to face, and I wish that we could see the look on Tom's face, how he's radiating with the joy of the Lord. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see the Lord give Tom a hug for all of us right now. But I will tell you, Tom said that when Tom was saved, his art got saved also, and it really changed and made a difference in a lot of lives.
Oh, and it still continues to do.
Yes.
We're going to have to go to a break now. We're going to talk some more about Tom's life when we get back here. So stay tuned. InterMountain Christian News Hour, IMCNews.org.
We read news every day. News that's informative, but rarely encouraging. The InterMountain Christian newspaper aims to change that. They present the news you need to know, from what's going on in your community to your world, with encouraging words, motivation, and the resources you need to make positive changes in your life. What is your local government doing that you need to know about? What's happening in your community you need to be a part of? Whether it's a story from your neighborhood, a national story, or an encouraging word, you'll find biblical issues of everyday life in the InterMountain Christian newspaper. InterMountain Christian News is produced and supported by the work and donations of individuals and churches. You'll find it at churches, Christian bookstores, and online at imcnews.org. To find out more about supporting this local resource, go online at imcnews.org or call InterMountain Christian News in Boise, Idaho at 208-703-8688. The InterMountain Christian News, a voice sharing the truth on matters dear to people's hearts.
Living Waters Ranch, located in Challis, Idaho, serves the body of Christ, offering a unique haven apart from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Small groups of church personnel can enjoy a planning retreat, and large groups will find plenty of activities for all ages. For more information about Living Waters Ranch, check out their website at www.livingwatersranch.org or call their office at 208-879-2729. That's 208-879-2729.
Well, back again. I'm Dr. Anthony Harper. My co-host, Alan Jones. Alan, thank you for joining me. And Bill Mason. Bill and his wife, Debbie, been Thomas Kinkade gallery owners in the Boise Town Square Mall here in Boise, Idaho. Bill, before we went to break, you're just going to talk some more about Thomas Kinkade. There's just a few short minutes about some things that people don't know about Thomas Kinkade, that he went by another name, or some paintings, and maybe explain that briefly. And
yeah, it's interesting how Tom started out, and I think a lot of artists actually do paint under different names. But Tom, there's a style that's called an impressionistic style, and then there's studio work. And his impressionistic work was painted under the name of Robert Gerard, and those paintings actually hung in the same galleries as his studio work at that time. So you would walk into a gallery and you would see paintings by Thomas Kinkade, and you might be looking around the gallery and see impressionistic pieces by Robert Gerard. Well, Thomas Kinkade painted under the name Robert Gerard for quite a period of time, and the Robert Gerard ability to market that name became available again. I think it's probably been about 4 years ago, and Tom actually brought some of those pieces out as impressionistic pieces under the name of Thomas Kinkade, but signed by Robert Gerard still.
Oh, okay. And then we want people to know more about his life, but we mentioned Christmas Cottage. There is a website, I believe, a Christmas Cottage movie.
Mm-hmm. If you get a chance, I would strongly recommend that you watch that this Christmas. It's a Christmas movie, a time in Tom's life where he came home from college. His mom was having, of course, like we said earlier, his family had gone through it was a divorce situation, mm-hmm. and his mom was having a tough time, and he and Pat came home from college and spent some time with Mom. And in this movie, there's a gentleman in the movie is played by Peter O'Toole. Mm-hmm. In real life, his name was Glenn Wessels. Okay. And Glenn Wessels actually moved into a barn and fixed it up into a home right next to Tom.
Oh, wow.
And so without Tom's father being there, Glenn Wessels really mentored Tom and helped him with his art and taught him the meaning of what art was for him, and really made a difference in Tom's life. And that's in the movie, The Christmas Cottage. It's a wonderful movie. We got to know a little bit about it as it went along and spend some time watching it develop. And it's been a good movie, and I'm glad Tom got it done before it was time to go home.
It was a blessing to have it. There's a website, ChristmasCottageMovie.com.
So it's not very old, right?
Not very old, no.
Yeah, and I had a wonderful memory of you introduced me to Thomas Kinkade as far as having an interview for our newspaper, and that's online for people to listen to, download. The sound quality is not as good as I would like to, but at least you can hear Thomas Kinkade share his faith and how he came to know Christ Jesus. And
yeah, I want to tell you a real quick thing about Tom that will help to let you know how much he loved Idahoans.
Okay.
We had an event here at a hotel one night. I'll try to make this real quick. Tom was only supposed to be here 2 hours. He's supposed to be back in California. And Tom pulled me aside. He was here with his whole family, and he said, "Bill, I want you to go out on the stage." And he said, "I want you to tell your collectors in Idaho that any piece that they select tonight, I'm not going home until I sign it." Tom ended up being in Idaho instead of 2 hours. He was probably here 6 hours. He never left till he signed all the pieces, and he missed his next event. So he had a great love for all of us up here, and I want you to remember that and really believe it, because Tom was very special, and he appreciated all of us up here.
Oh, he did.
That's excellent. And would Tom, I read somewhere that he painted like 1,000 or over 1,000 different pieces.
You know, I don't know if anybody even knows, because he started painting so young, and he has his archives that has a lot of paintings in them that we will never know. One of his associates brought forward 4 originals after Tom passed the other day. Rick Barnett brought 4 originals forward that nobody even knew Tom had painted or that they were even around, but he had painted them, and Rick, his associate, had them and owned them, and he brought them forward so that the public could now have them as published art.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I guess when I say that, they throw that number out there, I guess I mean that in the sense of master works, not just pieces that he's painted. So
yeah, we've got a lot about Thomas Kinkade's life that we would like to share with you today. You know, we're going to have to go off the air here soon, but Bill, thank you for joining me. And, Alan, thanks for being here. We've got to pray. We need to pray for, I encourage people to pray for Tom's family, Nanette and their children, and for Pat and all their family, for comfort for them. It's a very difficult time. There's a void that can't be filled. He has a unique talent, and but think about how all of us are unique to God, and we're all not alike. And people can learn more about his life through that movie, ChristmasCottageMovie.com. And thanks for Bill. Maybe we could talk some more later about these issues.
You mentioned his family real quick. Just let me tell you, he had 4 girls. His wife was Nanette. The girls were Merritt, Chandler, Windsor, and Evie, and each one of them had the middle name of Christian.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a great testimony. Thanks for tuning in and honoring Thomas Kinkade and praying for him and his family.